Hi everyone, my name is Pjay Togunde, and I'm a business strategist on the sports and entertainment team at UBS, and I'm here today with Jillian Archer, star on the St. John's women's basketball team. Thanks for being here with me today.
Thank you for having me.
So you've had a unique college experience where this is now your third university that you've played basketball at.
Yes.
So talk to me about why St. John's and how you knew that this was going to be the place that you kind of ended your college career.
Yeah, I think after going to two other schools, I definitely knew what I was looking for. Especially academically, being a grad student, I wanted to go somewhere that really supported my major, which is psychology. And from a basketball perspective, with the growth and leadership that I saw in my previous schools, I knew the culture that I wanted to be a part of. And I was able to find that here at St. John's with the coaching staff, as well as the girls that I was coming in with.
Who did you lean on to kind of help you make that decision?
My mom, she's like my best friend. She's literally helped me with everything in life. I think from a basketball standpoint, my mentor is my travel ball coach. His name is Coach George. He helped me when I first picked up a basketball all the way to now. He'll probably be in my life forever when it comes to basketball. He's a New York native, even though he coached me in California, and he definitely pushed for St. John's just because there's no place like New York.
So it sounds like you really had a great mentor and person in your corner that was supporting you and kind of pushing you to be successful.
Absolutely.
That's great. That's something that we talk a lot about, the importance of having those people that are invested in you and wanting to see you be successful. So that's great. How was your transition to being in New York and playing here? What were some of the hard parts about adjusting to this new environment?
It's definitely very different from home. Being from California, I'm used to like the sun and the beach. I just saw a lot of snow here for the first time. So the weather was probably the hardest adjustment for me. I think from a basketball perspective, it was really difficult for me to get acclimated to the system here. I played in the Big East prior to transferring here when I was at Georgetown, so I already knew like the conference and the competition, but really just trying to play at a whole new level. One thing that was huge when I transferred here was Joey T expected the most from me every single day. There was no time that I could ever just kind of relax or be content with where I was as a player. So that was the hardest thing for me, having to show up every day, bring 100% every day, and just be held to a higher standard than I was previously.
How do you think that standard has kind of impacted you as a player?
It's made me become the best version of myself. I think also just as a teammate and as a leader, the role that I've had to step into as a captain this year, I don't think that I would have been able to do that if it wasn't for that adjustment I had to make.
So you talked about kind of your travel basketball coach, but did you have any other mentors that when you got here were looking after you and kind of helped you adjust?
I was very fortunate to come into St. John's with a lot of transfers. So we had, I want to say like 4 or 5 transfers come in, as well as like freshmen when I first got here. So there are a lot of people trying to make the adjustment and just get used to one another in a sense. And there was a girl on the team last year, her name is Jillian Archer. She was like my person. She was a great leader on the court. She was an amazing captain. She showed up for us every single day. She was the person who hit the big time shot against Purdue for us at the tournament last year. But just her energy and the way that she pushed all of us to be our best selves, not just as players, also as young women, that was huge. She's definitely kind of paved the way for me in a sense, especially with her not being here this year. I try to take qualities from her and apply it to myself.
What type of qualities do you try to kind of use when you're leading your team?
I think one of the biggest things is understanding everybody is different. So how I speak to my other captain might not be the same way that I can speak to like one of the freshmen. I learned that from Jayla herself. I think also just having fun. Like she was super vibrant, super fun every day, even through adversity. And trying to stay positive and have fun in times like that is what I try to apply every day. Because some days not everybody can bring 100%. So just reminding them that their 10% or 20% is, enough and is going to help us and allow us to be successful is ultimately the biggest goal.
So being understanding, having kind of empathy and meeting people where they are.
Absolutely.
So I want to pivot and talk about NIL, the name, image, and likeness space. Since you've had a unique college career, I know you've seen it grow during your time playing. So how do you feel about NIL and the opportunities that it provides?
I think NIL is amazing. It's obviously cool, to monetize your name, image, and likeness. But I think that it allows our fans and people who watch our games to see a different side of us. For so long, people only saw us being like competitive on the court. Whereas now with NIL, we're able to create our own brand. It really like show the media and other people what we want them to see. So like for myself, I'm really into like playing video games, which is obviously something you wouldn't see just watching me on the court. So really trying to like show people those sides of me. And I know my teammates also really enjoy getting to show off like their fashion or artwork that ultimately goes unnoticed without NIL.
What has your experience been with kind of navigating the deals and the endorsements with NIL? Have you been able to get any like video game deals?
I haven't got any video game deals yet, but I've had a lot of fun doing NIL. I've been very successful with some of the brands that I've been able to work with, and I have a few in the works right now that I'm very, very excited about. It's definitely been hard to navigate. It's a very new playing field. So there were like mistakes that I made at the beginning, or maybe I just lacked the resources. You know, if I could go back, maybe make some different decisions in regards to the type of content that I was creating or the brands that I was working with. But NIL has been a lot of fun for me. Like, I think that even with the experiences that weren't so great, it still allowed me to grow my personal brand and really just look forward to like future deals.
So who or what has been the most helpful for you in navigating NIL? Because you said that it's been, at the beginning, it was a bit difficult.
It's definitely been a roller coaster. I think the best thing for me with NIL was when I transferred to St. John's. Coach Candace, she's on our coaching staff now. She's really big on like perception, kind of what you like show to the world, whether that's just walking down the street every day or on social media. And perception definitely plays a major role in like NIL deals and essentially what you're showing to brands and like social engagement stuff. She's probably been like my biggest mentor or help within that area.
That's really good advice. And that's something that our team talks about as well. So we created something called the NIL Playbook, which is kind of like a guide that helps student athletes navigate the world of NIL. And we have some tips and advice for them. And one of them is managing your brand, like you said, because what you post on social media and kind of what you show the world can really impact the potential deals and things that you get. So I'm glad that you're getting that guidance. How has NIL changed your experience as a student athlete?
I think it's helped me to really understand that it's like bigger than basketball. You know, everyone kind of just expects me to show up, get a double-double every day and play my role. But through NIL, I've also been able to give back a lot to my community back home, as well as communities here. I've been able to work with like different high school teams back home, as well as here, and really just try to set them up with the success they need for when they start their own NIL paths or careers.
That's incredible.
Thank you.
Using your resources to give back.
Definitely.
Do you feel like you were prepared to handle the financial responsibility that comes with receiving NIL money?
No, not at all. I think it was really difficult because, you know, obviously the school, they give you money for like your rent or like basic needs. But with NIL, I was able to make a lot of money very fast from like different brands or contracts that I signed. I definitely struggled financially. I remember looking at my bank account and seeing like a comma and just being like, wow, you know, I can buy the shoes that I wanted or go and get this jacket. I think it took me some time to get into like financial stability and responsibility, like not just splurging through my money and going through it very fast. But that was really just thanks to like the people here at St. John's. We have like seminars as like an athletics department where people come in and talk to us about how to manage our money, build a savings account, all that type of stuff. I wish I did it sooner, you know, get some money back, but it was definitely helpful in the end.
So what advice would you give to a freshman who's just now starting NIL and is getting some money? Like, what is something that you wish freshman year Jillian would know?
I think the biggest thing is to have fun with it. A lot of people take NIL super serious and really kind of get away from like what the whole goal of it is, which is to show your brand. I think financially save your money. You know, I'm going to graduate in just a few months here, and I wish that I had more in my savings, especially with the addition from NIL money.
Yeah, that's good advice. So in the NIL playbook that I mentioned our team created, we also talk about taxes, because that's something that I think a lot of young student athletes don't even think about, the fact that you're receiving money and you have to pay taxes on it at the end of the year. So you do have to set aside that money as well, which can sometimes get people caught up.
Absolutely. That was something I didn't know I had to do. So when tax season came around, it was like, oh, wow, you know, what a surprise.
Exactly. Overall, how do you think NIL has affected the NCAA?
I think that it's helped the NCAA a lot in regards to like having opportunities for student athletes that they didn't have previously. So a lot of student athletes are willing to kind of stick around, maybe get their degree before going to play professionally. It's definitely kind of hurt some schools, I guess you can say, within the NCAA, because it's hard to compete with other schools that can offer you great opportunities financially. That wasn't really something I was interested in when I was looking for a new school, like how much money I would make or anything like that. But it definitely can be difficult for recruiting for some schools.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we've seen that as well. So because you have experience at 2 other schools, what do you think differentiates St. John's in regards to how they treat their student athletes?
Man, they treat us amazing here. I've never been in an environment where I felt like everybody from obviously my own program, but also the men's program, the supporting staff, just athletics as a whole, they really root for all of their players here. And I can genuinely feel the love and just the pure intentions that they all have. They really want to see me perform, not just in the classroom or on the court, but even after college. They're constantly talking to me about what my plans are after this, where I want to go next, what I want to do. And I don't know, they set me up with like great networking systems, is that the word? Yeah, so it's just really nice. They love us here. And I can say it's very different from every other school that I've been at. It's very genuine here.
That's good to hear. Yeah. What do you think you're going to miss the most about your time here?
Okay, hopefully my teammates don't see this because they'll probably get on me in the locker room. But I think my teammates, both this year and last year, I had a great experience with my teammates. We were all very like-minded. We all had the same goals, and we just essentially got along. Like at the end of the day, although we all come from different backgrounds, and you know, being women, it can be difficult sometimes to constantly be around the same people, but everyone here was just so amazing.
So now I want to pivot and talk about UBS Arena, which is the new arena in Long Island that you had the opportunity to play at. What was your first impression of it, and what is it like to play there?
My first impression of it was that it was huge, absolutely beautiful. My first game there was when we played against UConn last year. Probably wasn't like the best results. You know, we lost by 40 at that time, but it was just surreal to be playing in that arena and being able to see the community come out and watch us, especially in a different location than just Carnesecca. It was a lot of fun. We got to meet with some of the girls, like teams that came out to the game, like the younger teams from just around the city, and they loved it. So being able to see them in a new environment and having fun, enjoying themselves, and just bringing energy was awesome.
And how does it compare to other arenas that you've played at?
I mean, there's no arena like Carnesecca Arena, of course, just being home, but I love it. You know, I've only played at a few arenas here in New York. I'm not really sure if I'm allowed to say the other one that I played at, but I definitely prefer UBS over that one. I think that the setup is really nice. The depth perception isn't talked about enough, but like behind the basket, usually the depth perception is terrible. When you're shooting a free throw or something, I didn't have that problem at UBS. So I don't know if that like added to how well my team and I were able to play and just kind of get acclimated, but that's like a big deal that they don't talk about enough in arenas.
That's good. I mean, obviously, I've been to the arena many times, not as a player, but I'm glad to hear that it's set up so well for you to really thrive on the court.
Yeah,
that's awesome. So I know that every athlete has their own kind of pregame rituals or routines. How does your game preparation kind of change or your mindset change when you're playing off campus?
The biggest thing is trying to stay focused, like being at home or even just like a normal away game. It's definitely kind of easier to stick to my routine, get a nap in, make sure I'm stretching, stuff like that. Playing off campus does make it a little more difficult when you think about getting into your routine because you have to account for like traveling to the arena, being in like a new locker room, stuff like that. But the biggest thing for me is to just go to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
I have to take a nap before a game, whether it's at home or off campus. And even if it has to be on the bus, like on the way to the arena, I have to get one in.
Mm-hmm. I'm the same way. My friends make fun of me, but I nap all the time, and it's really my key to success. Like, I have to be well rested for anything I do.
Absolutely. If I don't take a nap, I'm going to be cranky.
Yep,
like,
I'm the same way.
Yeah.
Does the ability to play in stadiums like UBS Arena or MSG, has that felt surreal to you? Is that kind of part of your New York City experience?
Absolutely. I think that being able to play in both of those arenas is amazing. It definitely helps me see how much the community of New York just kind of like supports St. John's. Of course, we have fans who come out to Carnesecca, but when we play like UBS or MSG, it kind of takes our games like a whole new level where it's like, wow, I'm closer to like playing at the professional level in a sense, or seeing what like the fan base could be like in that same area. So it really just kind of elevates the game. It makes me more excited just knowing that I have the opportunity to play somewhere else too.
You mentioned that you have an idea of what you want to do after college and you majored in psychology, but what are some of your kind of long-term future goals that you want to achieve after you leave St. John?
I'm hoping that I can play basketball for as long as I can, whether that's in the WNBA or overseas. I'm leaning more towards going overseas just for the possibility of like traveling, experiencing new cultures, all that type of stuff. After I'm done playing basketball, which probably be in like 4 or 5 years, I kind of want to either get into coaching, which is kind of why I got into my psych background, or I want to go into sports psychology, really trying to focus on like mental health, especially in athletes, how that affects our performance. And it's like an ever-growing field right now. So like whether I can work for a team or an organization at the professional level, that's like my ultimate goal. Even after coaching, after playing overseas, that's definitely what I want to do.
What are some of the steps that you feel you need to take to get there, to achieve those goals?
I think the first step was just being able to experience playing at this level as well as at the next level, especially with me wanting to get into sports psych. I think the only way to really, connect with others and understand is to have lived it myself. Other than that, I think just really kind of having fun, like enjoying the process. So often I get caught up in this idea that I have to have everything figured out, especially, with me graduating very soon and just wrapping up my career here. I can get nervous sometimes, like, oh no, like I don't know exactly what I'm doing next or where I'm going to be in 2 years, but just having fun, enjoying the process, and really seeing like where God takes me is the biggest thing in order to accomplish my goals.
Sounds like you're living in the moment and savoring the moment and not worrying too much about the future.
Yes.
Do you feel like St. John's has prepared you well for life after college?
Absolutely. Regardless of my basketball aspirations, they've also helped me a lot with my like work aspirations. So sports psychology specifically, or the potential of coaching. They've also kind of thrown out some ideas to me about what they think I might be good at. So like taking advantage of my NIL knowledge, or, being able to help my teammates even just right after I leave here. They've also helped me a lot with basketball after college. So getting like an agent, being able to play overseas, or get like a training contract to go to the WNBA. But they go above and beyond here. I can definitely say that.
That's phenomenal. Are there any people or moments either on the court or in the classroom that stand out as being particularly memorable to you?
I think my favorite moment was beating UConn last year. We played UConn at UConn, and it was an amazing environment to play in. Like, their arena was packed. I don't think I saw an empty seat from anywhere. The fans were super into the game. Both benches were super into the game. And, UConn, they're very competitive. They are known for being just a great program in history. And being able to beat them at their place was amazing. My team's reactions, my coach's reactions, like, I think about it every day still.
In addition to the UConn win, are there any other moments that you're most proud of during your time here at St. John's?
I would say this entire last year, I'm very proud of. I had to really step into a role that was outside of my comfort zone, being more vocal, being a leader, and ultimately just being like the best teammate that I can be, especially because my team is pretty young this year. They call me grandma. on the team. There's only 2 older students on the team. So I'm really proud of just my ability to adjust and willingness to adjust and sacrifice for the sake of our team being successful. For a more like specific point, I would say the Butler game this year at home. That was probably like the first game where everybody on the team was really able to contribute and really able to just, feel like we were all a part of something, as opposed to just like a few people scoring or a few people being able to get in the game. Like literally everybody got in the game. Everybody was able to put up a point or put something on the stat sheet, and being able to see the camaraderie like amongst my teammates and just how united we felt, especially after the game in the locker room celebrating. That's a moment I feel like we worked for all year.
Yeah, you guys deserved it. What is the greatest lesson that you're taking with you as you leave St. John's?
I think the greatest lesson that I'm taking away, when you are surrounded by people who genuinely believe in you and want to see you succeed, and then you have like your own, self-motivation and want that you can accomplish anything. Like all it takes sometimes is a change of environment or just the people that you have around you to accomplish exactly what you've been trying to accomplish. And St. John's has really showed me that. I think the person that I've been able to become here, the support system I've had around me, it all just goes hand in hand with one another.
I'm happy to hear that. And it goes back to what we were talking about earlier with having the right team around you.
Yeah, thank you.
So you've had an incredible run here. How do you want the St. John's community to remember you, Jillian Archer?
I hope that they remember me as a competitor, somebody who showed up every day, competed, had fun on the court. I think also just that I was kind, generous, and funny. Very funny.
So on behalf of UBS, I want to thank you and St. John for letting me sit down with you today. This has been a pleasure, and I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you. I had such a good time.